Okay, today we're going to talk about utility. So here's an example. Let's say you have been in the desert for about a week, no food and no water. You are feeling very thirsty and this place has been very hot for you. And then I come in and offer you a glass of water. You might agree with me that this could be the most satisfying glass of water you have had in your life at that time. Being thirsty in a hot place and no shade for long might mean that your body actually needed water more than anything else. Now, can you imagine the amount of satisfaction you're going to get from there? So if I were to give you a questionnaire and say, how satisfying was that glass of water? You would give it tops. This was the most satisfying glass of water in your life. Now, if I were to say to you, you had 0 units of water, and I put satisfaction on the other side. You had no satisfaction because he had no water. This one, the first glass of water that you had after such a long time, gave you so much satisfaction. Now, I just want to give an indication of a number. This number doesn't really mean anything. It's just relative. It just means just give a random number so that when we move on to the second and third, we can be able to evaluate how good this was. So let's say this first glass of water satisfied you by units, let's say 90 units of satisfaction. Now, if you take the second one, and this is total satisfaction, by the way. If you take the second one, you will get 120, or let's say 180. You take the third one, you will move from 180 to about 220. If you take the fourth one, you will move to about 250. The fifth one, you, let's say, will move to 270. And so forth. Now, if you look at this, it means that you got the highest, because you moved from 0 to 90, you got the highest satisfaction when you had the first one. You moved from 90 to 80, you were still very thirsty. I mean, you haven't had water for such a long time. The second glass was as satisfying as the first one. Now, from 180 to 220, when you took the third one, you didn't get 90 satisfaction, another 90 basically. So you got another 80, 90, 100, another 40, right? So it still goes up. The satisfaction still goes up, but it's not increasing at the same number. It went up by 90, the first 2 steps. Now it went up by 40. And from 220 to 250, it went up by 30. And now from there, it went up by 20. At some point in time, if I keep giving you water, there's going to be a point where you actually don't want any more water. Let's say now I spend the next 5 days, you've been thirsty for 5 days. I spend the next 5 days just feeding you ice water because I thought that's what you needed. Now, if I just bring them to you constantly, at some point in time, you will not be wanting any water. In actual fact, you'll be getting dissatisfaction from drinking water. The same water that when you took the first glass of gave you so much satisfaction. Now, it means that with every other thing that you consume in economics, this is meant to depict the fact that you will get satisfaction from consuming the same product and increase the quantities of it, but you will not get the same level every time. So before you consumed it, you were at zero. When you start, you'll have the highest satisfaction. After that, you'll have satisfaction that's very high, but not as high as the first one. After that, so the satisfaction that you get, the extra satisfaction that you get, is reducing slowly until there is no extra, and then now you get dissatisfaction if you consume it any more than that. This is the concept of utility. It measures happiness or satisfaction that you get from consuming a particular product.